Nashville SC 2021 MLS season preview. Thanks for joining. I am Mike, your host, Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast. Thanks for watching this team preview. Nashville SC expansion no more. Last season, in that expansion season, 7th place finish for 32 points and a +2 goal differential. And they just made the playoffs. And not only that, they made the playoffs and they got 2 big-time wins in those playoffs, going on a mini playoff run. Well done to Nashville SC. Plenty to grow with this season, their second season. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So before we get started, we're going to talk about off-season players in, players out, as well, designated players, coach review, breakout youngsters section, and lastly, so make sure you stay tuned for this one, the predictions, how I think Nashville will do this season in 2021. So, lots to talk about today. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button down below, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our awesome soccer content. And with that being said, let's talk about some of the players that are in for Nashville this season. So forward/midfielder Rodrigo Pinero, a transfer from Danubio FC. CJ Sapong, brought in from Chicago as a free agent. Robert Castellanos, also a free agent. Defender Nick Hines from the Seattle Sounders. And then goalkeeper Brian Meredith, who is also a free agent to back up Willis. Players out: Brian Bekeles, contract expired. Tanner Dietrich, Ken Tribbett, Alan Wynn, Cameron Lancaster, all had their contracts expired. And then Derek Jones, traded to the Houston Dynamo. Miguel Nazarit, loaned to Independiente Santa Fe. And David Akam, a 12-month, year-long loan to Hammarby IF over in the Scandinavian countries. I can't remember which, if it's Sweden or Norway that Hammarby plays, or maybe even Denmark. I can't even remember. But overall, the movement this season, good pickups in Rodrigo Pinero. We'll talk more about him later in the show. As well, CJ Sapong. This is a guy who has bounced around MLS. He spent a lot of time in Philadelphia, spent some time in, I believe, in Kansas City as well. Then he went to the Fire, had some good times for the Chicago Fire. Now he's a free agent, goes to Nashville, and let's see what Nashville can do with him. I think he's a good piece to bring up off the bench, kind of a super sub type piece now, at least at his age, is kind of where he stands here. So, players out. Hate to see Brian Bekeles go. I think he had some talent to stick with it there. Also, Derek Jones and David Akam. David Akam with that loan. God, David Akam was just a budding superstar with the Chicago Fire, and then the Fire screwed him over, and then he was traded, and he went to Philly, and then he was traded. He went to Nashville. He just hasn't been the same player since Chicago screwed him over when he was looking for that transfer. So hopefully this will rejuvenate David Akam. Maybe he'll end up getting sold, and the team will make a good profit off of him. If not, maybe it helps him turn things around. So those are your players in and your players out for Nashville SC in 2021 offseason. Let's talk a little bit about the designated players. So the 3 guys, there's 3 designated players for Nashville: Jonder Cadiz, Randall Leal, and Hani Mukhtar. Hani Mukhtar, the first signing for Nashville SC as a designated player. 15 appearances, 4 goals, and 4 assists. Decent season for Hani Mukhtar. I expect better this year. Again, last year, I kind of want to preface everything in this team preview because Nashville only had their one season last year. It was their first season, and it was a COVID year, which was just completely screwed up. I mean, you've got games first happening, the excitement, the hype is all there. You're filling Nissan Stadium, and then next thing you know, that's it. It's a break. We go down to Nashville, or to MLS's back. For that tournament, Orlando, Nashville ends up not competing, so they're playing Dallas 3 or 4 times in a row to try and make up some of those games because Dallas couldn't play in the tournament either because of a COVID breakout. Then you get back in. It was just a complete crazy season. So a lot of these teams in MLS, since they had seasons before that, you kind of had something else to base them off of. Nashville, we don't. So Hani Mukhtar, 4 goals, 4 assists, and 15 appearances. Not a bad season for him. Randall Leal, 24 years old, 21 appearances last year, 3 goals and 4 assists. Really started to find his way towards the end of the season last year, and that bodes really well for Nashville this season. kid could be very dangerous. As well, Jonder Cadiz, 10 appearances, 2 goals. Everybody expects more from Jonder Cadiz. He came in midway through, the season last year. He'll be fine. I expect much better season from Jonder Cadiz this year. 10 appearances, 2 goals. Again, wasn't horrible. He did change the game. His size and the way he plays definitely changes the game. So I'm excited to see what he'll do with a full season in MLS and that transition period out of the way. So a very strong 3 designated players for Nashville with Jonder Cadiz, Randall Leal, and Hani Mukhtar. Let's talk a little bit about the MLS Cup odds from Las Vegas. The bookmakers give Nashville a plus 5,000 odds as of recording today, which is March 17th. And again, prefix for everybody watching this. The recording time is March 17th. Release date, I believe, is going to be looking like the 21st of March. So things can change, right? Things can change even from when this gets recorded to when it gets released. And also, if you're watching this a week before the season, which I'm sure most of you will, because that's when people start looking for these team previews, other than the real diehards that can't wait like me. I'm a diehard fan, so I got to get all this stuff done now. We'll see some changes. There will be some more signings. There will be some more movement, but and maybe the MLS Cup odds change as well. We'll see. But decent bet for me. I think Nashville could go on a run. Very strong team. You saw what they did last year. And so that's my take on that. All right, before we head into our next segment, guys, check out that join button right down below next to the subscribe button. We have just launched memberships to Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast YouTube community. We offer 2 different levels, starter level at $199 a month and designated player level at $499 a month. This benefits the show immensely. This helps us so much we don't even know. It really helps us control the costs of StreamYard and, podcast hosting, all that kind of stuff. And not only do you get lots of cool perks, check out the perks here in the graphic as well as when you go to sign up. And really, really appreciate all the members. So far, we've got our first 2 members, and we just launched the other day. Can't wait to see that community, the best soccer community in the U.S., continue to grow. So, breakout youngsters, Rodrigo Pinero. This guy coming in, young initiative signing, Paraguayan Youth International. Reddit is super high on this kid. So, being a national podcast, I watch a lot of soccer. However, I can't watch USL games. I can't watch, these academy kids coming up for every single club. So, always head over to Reddit, get the information from the diehards, and there you have it. They kind of help me out with that, and I then make my decisions on which youngsters based off the things they say. And Rodrigo Pinero looks like a special young signing. Already playing for the Paraguayan Youth International team. Definitely excited to see this kid play, and I think he could possibly be a starter, and we'll talk about that in my projected starting 11 as well. But this is a name that you don't know right now, but you will definitely know towards the end of the season. The second one, Henwala Bawana. This kid's from Seattle. Great story. Go check out this kid's personal story. Absolutely amazing. This is the chance he's been waiting for. He's been trying to get time in Seattle. It's really hard to get time when you're playing on a team that's playing in like every MLS Cup final, over the past 5 years. So now he gets his shot. He heads over to Nashville. He's out of Seattle. Can he get his chance? This is his chance to shine. If he's going to break out, it's going to happen this year. And I like the kid's talent. I like the story. He's persevered through a lot. So I expect to see him do big things for Nashville this season and break out. All right. Coach review. Head coach Gary Smith. Very good coach. Was the USL coach with Nashville. And that very, very rarely works out when a player or when a coach comes up with the USL team. It usually doesn't bode well. Look at Cincinnati. Look at Orlando. Look at, a lot of other teams that came up from USL with the same coach. Usually doesn't end well. But Gary Smith has done a great job so far. But it has worked for him and for Nashville. This is a coach who has won an MLS Cup in the past. Won it with Colorado back in 2010. Did a great job last season. I was very impressed. I think he could have been on Coach of the Year shortlist and should have probably even won it. when you figure you've got an expansion team. And it was so funny because Nashville coming in with Miami, it was, Inter Miami's going to sign all these star players and all this. And then Nashville's like, yeah, we're going to slow build. We're going to build some young talent, some good talent, not really names that you're going to go and, it's not Edison Cavani being linked to the team and, signing a Blaise Matuidi and Gonzalo Higuain and all this kind of stuff. And who would have thought last year that the team that was going for all those big signings and a team like Nashville that wasn't, Nashville would have been more successful. That, to me, is on the coach, Gary Smith, and not only did they have a better season and rank higher in the standings, but then they went and beat Inter Miami in the first round playoff game. So well done to Gary Smith and to Nashville for that one. I like Gary Smith. I expect him to do a great job again this year, and Nashville SC to continue with their good run. Projected starting 11. I see this team playing in a 4-2-3-1. Again, this could change depending on the signings. But as of right now, I like the 4-2-3-1 for this team. You got Willis in goal from left to right on the defense. You've got Daniel Lovitz, Romney, Zimmerman, and Alistair Johnston. The two defensive type midfielders, Godoy and McCarty. Then the three offensive midfielders / wingers. You've got Leal, Mukhtar, and Pinero with Cadiz up top. This is a very, very solid starting 11. Could definitely use a few more depth pieces in case there's any injuries or anything like that. But what a starting 11. I mean, you've got the defensive player of the year in Walker Zimmerman back there. You've got an up-and-coming good player in Johnston, Alistair Johnston. Romney, I think there's room for improvement there. Same with Daniel Lovitz. But Daniel Lovitz is just a great MLS veteran piece. Spent time in Toronto, spent time in Montreal. He's been getting a lot of USMNT call-ups. Probably won't continue the USMNT call-ups, but we've ragged a lot on Daniel Lovitz because he just doesn't fit in the USMNT. He's not that good, but a very solid MLS piece. Godoy, McCarty, Dax McCarty, the man's a beast, and God, I just hope one day he'll win an MLS Cup for the amount of time he spent in MLS, a career MLS guy with Dallas and then Chicago, New York. Really want to see him do well. Leal, Mukhtar, and Pinero, very strong offensive three midfielders / wingers with Jonder Cadiz, that size up front. Bodes well. I like this team. I think this team is destined for some good things. Let's talk about the most important player. So this is the guy who his team is going to be successful if he's successful. If he has a trash year, this team will have a bad down-off year. So for me, my most important player for Nashville, it's not an offensive piece. It's not the big, the designated players where usually that's the way it goes. For me, I got Walker Zimmerman. I think he's going to need another defensive player of the year type performance for this team to be as successful as it was again last year. Anything less will hurt the team. I don't think he doesn't need to win Defensive Player of the Year. He just needs to be solid. And I could see him continue to grow. Again, he is young, so he is still progressing. I could see him really taking the next step this season and being just a huge, huge piece for Nashville and securing another Defensive Player of the Year and really holding down that back line for Nashville in a successful season. So they just need a little bit more depth on defense, and that'd be good. But Zimmerman, my most important player for Nashville. Now, let's talk about the first game of the season coming up exactly 1 month today from recording. It's March 17th. First game is April 17th against FC Cincinnati, a new and improved FC Cincinnati. Bottom of the league both years they've played in MLS. I don't expect Cincinnati to be that bad. Check out their team preview that I just completed a couple days ago. But going to be a great game. Nashville and Cincinnati. I think Nashville should be able to start the season out on the right foot, especially playing at home at Nissan Stadium. So that is the first one. MLS opening kick, just about a month away. Cannot wait. I'm excited. Are you excited? Let me know down in the comments if you're excited. And let me know what you think your predictions are going to be, because that's where we're heading next. I'm going to talk about my predictions. Let me know down in the comments what your predictions are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think this team's going to win MLS Cup? Do you think it's going to be in the bottom of the league? How do you feel this season's going to go for Nashville? So for me, ceiling, all things go well. Not a lot of injuries. Good season. I see this team finishing 4th in the Eastern Conference, getting a home playoff game. Now, the floor for me is 7th in the East. This team is a playoff team. I like this team a lot. I am very comfortable saying this team will be a playoff team come the end of the season. Those are my predictions. 4th in the East as a ceiling, 7th in the East as a floor. So good, should be a good year for Nashville. Really should. Head coach is good. You've got a lot of good depth. You got some good DPs. Really excited to see what Nashville can do if they can build on that great expansion season. All right, guys, that does it for my preview. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on your notification bell as well so you don't miss any of our live, awesome American soccer content, whether that's our regular podcast episodes, news and notes, whether that is any random videos that we decide to do, team previews, live stream reactions. We do games every week. We're going to be doing at least one game live. You can join the conversation and hang out with the best community in soccer, in American soccer, with Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast. So thanks, guys, for checking out this preview. We will see you next time, and good luck to Nashville SC in this 2021 MLS season.